What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So today we got the Paris Prime Incarnon revisited in 2024 with some new mods. This thing's stronger than ever, and I keep praising it in my videos. People are confused why, so I'm going to show you why I like the Paris Prime Incarnon so much. We're showing some no Riven builds today, but I also have a very strong Riven I'd like to show you as well near the end of the video, so let's get right into it. Before we do, make sure you sub this shit up. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, discussion videos, news videos, all that kind of stuff. You're in the right place for Warframe content. And yeah, my PC issues appear to have been fixed, so this is kind of a little bit of a test video. Not the video I originally had planned for today, but still a video I've been planning to make for a while. So let's get right into it. Alright, so the Paris Prime Incarnon. It's one of our 3 or 4 railgun bows in the game, and the special ability of the Paris Prime Incarnon is going to make it where it has wide hitbox arrows that have built-in fire damage, and it eliminates all the other impact, puncture, and slash. So, that being taken into account, we can jam the stats on this Paris Prime Incarnon to ridiculous levels to make it like guaranteed multiple elemental procs per shot. Not to mention, we're also getting red crits too, depending on what type of combinations of mods you're using and types of buffs you're using. So yeah, this will be going over my gas proc build for the Paris Prime with the new mods added in the Jade Shadows update. So let's get right into it. So as you can see in the gameplay footage on the Steel Path, it's very good for grouped up enemies. These gas procs do an AoE damage attack, and that damage is actually pretty powerful when you have this much base damage, crit, and status. We're getting multiple of these gas procs per arrow, and yeah, you can fire out quite a few arrows. The Split Flights mod does work on the Paris Prime Incarnon, but unlike my previous video, I'm not really using Split Flights anymore, but it's definitely still an option. And since this thing has no elementals on the Incarnon form, it only has heat, you can do some interesting combinations like corrosive heat as well. Now going over what we're using on the build and how you can replicate this with no Riven, because it's a no Riven video right now. Here we are in the Arsenal screen. So the Paris Prime Incarnon is what we got, and it is the best version of the Paris Incarnon. And there's multiple reasons for that. One of them is going to be a special mod that only works on the Paris Prime called Visage Ball. Restore 300 health for every 3 status effects, but you also get 90% increased status chance as well. So you get this, and this is only for the Paris Prime. No other weapon in the entire game can equip this mod. So it's the only status chance Excellus mod in the entire game. So that's pretty helpful, because you look at the stats we have on here with no Riven, 150% crit chance, 7.5 multiplier, and 264% status chance. So we have a good amount of status chance, and that's only with one 60/60 mod and Galvanized Aptitude. But yeah, we also got the new mod, Rifle Elementalist. This is the one that made me want to make the video today. We get increased status damage and built-in punch through. Now, this thing has infinite body punch through the Incarnon form, but this gives it normal punch through, which is actually helpful for one of these Incarnon perks. Let's quickly show you in the simulacrum what we're going to be using today and how this actually is going to be utilized by you if you like this. We're going to go ahead and get some Eximus in here. Now, I do have the Nautilus equipped. It's probably going to ruin... If everything dies randomly, it's Nautilus's fault. I'm sorry about that. But yeah. We get some normal shots here, so we only have one Toxin mod. So the primary shot has Toxin, the Incarnon form is gas, because the Incarnon form has heat on it innately. So we fire out this arrow. As you can see, 5 gas procs from 1 shot. And the gas proc is doing a decent amount of AoE damage here. When the enemies are all grouped up, you can fire out a roar buffed gas proc shot. And there you go, AoE multiple 100,000, and that's through armor too. So with this, you can just have AoE arrows, and this gas effect does linger as well. So throw on Shadow Haze for a little bit of debuffing. And there you go, 1.6 million through a level 200 Eximus armor for Steel Path. So as far as how you replicate this and why it is so effective, we are going to have to be looking at what these actual Incarnons do. So as far as your Incarnon option for the Paris Prime, and of course there are multiple ways you can run this. I'm going to show you the ones I have. We've got Guardian's Might, increasing your base damage by 20, and when you have Overshield, you get 74 more base damage, which is a big extra chunk. The other option is Deadly Pace, giving increased damage by 20, the same as the overshielded Guardian's Might, but also, instead on this one, with sprint speed over 1.2 or higher, you get 80% increased fire rate. That can be really good. It can actually help you take off a fire rate mod on your build, but Sevagoth Prime is not fast enough to actually have that speed, so I'm not using that with Sevagoth Prime, but definitely an option as well. 80% fire rate is a large amount. Speaking of fire rate, and this is why that one mod is really helpful, on punch through hit, plus 40% fire rate for 6 seconds. this is going to only work on normal punch through. So it's not going to work on the infinite body punch through of the Incarnon form, unfortunately. But that being said, the other options on here are not really that great anyway. So if you want minus zoom or plus projectile speed, that one could be okay. You could go with those options instead. But yeah, with a new mod that gives us punch through, might as well throw those on here for a little bit extra fire rate. Turns your punch through mod into a fire rate mod, kind of. And for the final tier, there's really not many options besides just this one, Elemental Balance, increasing status chance by 60%. That makes your Incarnon shot have a ton of status chance, and those mods are going to go off of that. The other options are Vicious Promise, increasing base critical damage, or base critical chance by 40% on an undamaged enemy. It also increases base critical multiplier against undamaged enemies. I'm sure, ideally, you know, in a perfect world, when everything is going exactly how you want things to go, this would be technically better. But with a gas proc build, the status chance is needed, and it's a huge amount of status chance. So go for this one, definitely. And of course, the enemy's like, if you were to take Vicious Promise, if they're damaged in any way, this does literally nothing. So I would not recommend it. And your final option, on hit, increases base damage by 15 for 3 seconds, stacks up to 4 times. Sure, if you want some more base damage, it could work, but the purpose of this build is a big status chance build, so that's what we got. Alright, so going ahead and showing the build now. And as I said earlier, it is a gas proc build. There is the mod Split Flight, so where's this one right here? This can give you up to 400% multi-shot, but it gives you tons of minus accuracy. So if you want to try it, feel free. It's definitely not a terrible mod. You just put that right where Galvanized Chamber is. But yeah, it's just a little bit less reliable, and also not everybody has this mod. So I choose not to run it regularly. And actually, I usually am running my Riven on this thing too. Status chance and crit chance. We'll show that in a little bit here. But as far as the mods here, we've got Galvanized Chamber and Galvanized Aptitude for tons of extra, stacks. Galvanized Aptitude might not have many procs on them, but if you do throw like a viral proc on them, it will be a ton of extra damage with this mod. And also increase our status chance, what we do like on this build. For the Incarnon form, that's giving us a ton of extra status chance. Malignant Force turns that pure heat damage into gas damage, and also makes our primary shot have Toxin on it, which is great for bypassing Corpus shields. For the Corpus for some reason. Well, yeah, guys, there's plenty of other builds on here too, like a corrosive build or a viral build also work. Prime Band the Grenier, because we're fighting Grenier in the footage I showed you. If you do throw on a Riven, it can one-shot Acolytes no problem. If you don't have a Riven, it might not be as good against Acolytes, at least with a gas proc build. But yeah, crit against Grenier, it will make it do a ton of extra damage against those armored Grenier. Critical Delay gets our crit chance up to above 100%. It also gives us minus fire rate, unfortunately. That's why Vital Acceleration is here, giving us a ton of extra fire rate. Now, if you are using other outside buffs, like Vergloss with Reinforced Bond, like I'm using, or using that fire rate increasing perk like this one, and you want to depend on that, you don't need to run a fire rate mod. I've actually had another mod. I've had another elemental mod there in the past. That's totally fine. There's other options too, like increased multi-shot, or maybe you want to go for maybe another punch-through mod or something like that. You have other options. You don't need to run a fire rate mod, but on bows, I do find them to be pretty helpful. So I'm running Vital Acceleration on here to fire out more arrows. As far as our last mod is going to be Rifle Elementalist, besides our crit mods, that is. And this is going to give you increased status damage and that built-in punch that we were talking about earlier. So this is the mod that is the new mod that made me want to remake the video. This gives you more gas proc damage, and it makes it really, really deadly. As far as our Sevagoth, not really too many buffs on him. It's my Sevagoth from my Sevagoth video the other day. But technically, we could be using Shadow Haze to get more crit chance. With this build, it gives about 65% more crit chance. And we also got Nautilus Prime. This guy is so OP, honestly. But he's got Reinforced Bond, giving us increased fire rate for our bow, which is great. And Tenacious Bond, giving us increased crit damage for our frame in general. Oh, and by the way, guys, people are saying, hey, Gaz, you forgot Momentous Bond. What do you mean I forgot Momentous Bond? This thing kills level 10,000 without Momentous Bond. But if you want to put Momentous Bond on here, I guess you could put it on over Reinforced Bond if you want to have this thing getting even more damage. But Reinforced Bond is really good, so we're going to keep that on there to give it increased fire rate for our bow. So with all these things combined, we are able to release multiple gas proc arrows per shot every single time. So if we were to summon into Corpus, we bypass their shields with the primary shot, and the Incarnon shot is going to be AoE bullets. Now, of course, other options exist too, like the Nanorook and the Dread, but they don't have that exclusive Visage Ball Augment mod, giving us tons of extra status chance, which means we're getting tons of extra procs. So right there, no armor strip on these guys. Not doing a ton, but when they get grouped up, the gas procs become really, really nasty. Now, as far as, is this the best bow in the game? I don't think it is, but it is probably the highest status chance bow in the game. I'll go ahead and say that. If we slap on a Riven, you can see how disgusting this thing really can get. And yeah, the Riven stats are very high, and they've been that way for a while, so they'll probably stay that way. So if we throw on the Paris Critidex mod, we get increased crit chance and status chance. Take a look at what we have now. 285% crit chance, and 384% status chance. Now, we did lose Rifle Elementalist, and that's kind of a bummer, but let's just go ahead and take a look at how this works now without that mod. Now, of course, I do need to put that mod back on there because it's a very good mod for this build, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you how much status chance this thing can pump out when you have a Riven. Alright, so just fire out one arrow, seeing like, was that 8 procs? 8 procs from one trigger pull. That's another 8 procs right there. So you're looking at about 8 procs per bullet, and then we go into Incarnon form, it's only going to be gas like we talked about earlier. So it should be 8 gas procs. Okay, 7 gas procs and 1 impact. Not too bad. So you're going to throw a roar on there too. Pretty nasty. Throw on Shadow Haze for more crit, and it looks like they're already dead to the Nautilus actually. So yeah, with this combination of stuff, guys, you can be one-shotting Vernier through their armor on the steel path in an AoE. And like I said, the effect lingers, so you just gotta chill after you fire out the bullet. So, yeah, Paris Prime is definitely underrated. You know, these numbers are ridiculously high, so not everybody's gonna really be able to. You don't even need, honestly, those numbers are so high, you don't even need them like that most of the time. These amount of gas procs stacked together, and it makes the gas proc area very deadly. There's a 2.6 million damage gas proc right there. And of course, the Nautilus is doing a lot of the work too. But yeah, mainly here it is going to be the Parish Prime with those gas procs. It lingers for a while, the enemies walk into it, they die to the gas proc, rinse and repeat. And if you do want to kill an Acolyte with this, I would recommend going more into the crit route, so maybe get a crit Riven, or if you do care about Acolytes specifically, to go for a Corrosive build. But I have one-shot Acolytes with my gas build plenty of times, so yeah, just basically need to have a ton of damage. Now, and the funny thing is too, with this crit chance Riven, what was it, 384%? Oh no, it's 280 something percent. 285% crit chance with the crit chance Riven. We throw on Shadow Haze, we're at over 300%, so we're in guaranteed red crits, and some of those become even beyond red crits, which means the crit damage gets applied again. So yeah, really nasty, really powerful, and really underrated, I'd say. As a new player, my first Prime weapons ever was the Paris Prime. This is the Paris Prime I'm using in this video is the same Paris Prime I built when I was a noob. So it's a big glow up from back then, where, you know, back then it was like, all right, just it's got good damage, I guess. Now it's like red crit, AoE arrows, 300% status chance, almost 400% status chance. You know, gas proc, AoE toxin, everything. It's like, wow, this is a big upgrade from back then, and I've been really enjoying it. I am going to continue to enjoy it. So let me know how you guys feel about the Parish Prime in the comments down below. I know some people like the Nanorook a lot, some people like the Dread a lot. I like this one a lot, but I also like all three of them. No, not equally. I'd say this was definitely my favorite of the three, but yeah, that status chance is hard to compete with. So hope that new Dread augment that comes out on like Wednesday or whatever will be good, but we'll be grinding a couple weeks to even get access to it. So yeah, I'll do a Dread comparison in the future. It probably wouldn't be the same, but I don't think the Dread really want to do a build like this. Dread would be more of a crit-focused corrosive build. But yeah, we'll do a Dread comparison when the augment comes out. But yeah, in the meantime, guys, get Visage Ball if you like the Parish Prime Incarnon, and I believe it's on like week 1 or 2 of the Incarnon. So see you guys next time. Appreciate your support, and take it easy. Bye.